What would 12-year-old you never believe about adult you? For almost 9 years, I've worked literally 1 minute away from a huge water park and I've never gone there. I lived in New Zealand for 8 years, been to the studio in the film locations. Still haven't seen the movies. Edit, funny how I forgot to mention LOTR, but I think everyone upvoted know what movie was talking about. Edit 2, my highest upvoted comment is about my ignorance, Grado. I traveled in Mexico, and when I told one of the guys who worked at a hostel I stayed at that I was from New Zealand, he was like, "Oh, they made that movie there." And I was like, "Yep, Lord of the Rings." And he looked confused and said no. The other one. Ah. Once were warriors. There's no punchline beyond that, I just wanted to share that story. Doesn't need one. That's the funniest thing I've read all day. The fact that he looked confused really paints a picture. That I do math for a living. Ducking math. He'd have been so upset. Hashtag X200B, edit, wow, did not expect so many replies to this of all posts. Must be a lot of accidental mathematicians out there. I should have been more specific, I'm a financial analyst, so I play with numbers and spreadsheets and that kind of stuff all day. So not even the cool kind of math that helps us get into space or anything. More like, yeah, last year we spent 45% more on LaCroix for the office than in the previous year. So, maybe less LaCroix this year? Hashtag X200B, edit 2, for more clarity, all I ever wanted to be was a musician. Even went to school for music. Still play pretty much every day, just never made a living from it. So I went from rock roll to profit loss, as it were. We never got that growth spurt we were promised. That sometimes, when I'm not paying attention, my mom's words slipped right out of my mouth. Sometimes it happens even when I'm paying attention. I'm too young to turn into her. My mother isn't always wrong. She's right about a lot of things, even if they didn't make sense when I was younger. Most subjective things though. No. That, I too, don't know what the duck am doing with my life. Lol, I think 12-year-old me knew more about what I was doing in life than I do. Ignorance is bliss, I'm told. That I'm almost 40 and still don't have a stable full of horses. I just turned 40 and finally do have a horse of my own. It was well worth the wait, young me. I live in a whole ass other country and speak another language now, that definitely would come as a surprise. Where did you come from, where did you go? That I own an ice cream shop. Edit, holy cow. I posted my response, went to bed, and woke up to this blowing up. I will also add that because of my ice cream shop I was a contestant on Chopped. 12-year-old me would be even more shocked by that. As an ice cream shop owner, how much ice cream do you in fact still consume? Do you get tired of it after a while? Can one even get tired of ice cream? I'm not up, but my parents own an ice cream shop that I basically grew up in, so I think I'm qualified to answer this question, and yeah, you basically eat ice cream every day. Why were you living my dream? I also eat ice cream every day but have never owned an ice cream shop. Live your dream. I actually like exercise and physical activity, it's just P class that sucked. School does a surprisingly good job of sucking every last bit of fun out of many subjects. P focused on competitive team sports, horrible for non-competitive or less coordinated people. My school loved doing dance exercise. Every single year, without fail, we would have 1 or 2 terms of dancing. In grade 9, I got incredibly sick. My feet swelled up so much that I couldn't wear my school shoes. I was diagnosed with arthritis, and given a letter from the doctor to excuse me from P. It was one of those dance terms. She laughed at my letter because only old people get arthritis and then called me lazy. I tried really hard that term, but I still got a crappy grade, because dancing when your feet are in excruciating pain is not very graceful. You should have gone to the principal or something, because that almost sounds like abuse. I should have. It was 18 years ago, so nothing I can do now, lol. Find your old gym teacher and put your lazy foot in her ass. That the brother I hated would become my best friend, edit, damn. Left this comment before bed, came back to this. Thank you all for the awards, lol, this never happens to me on here. Warms my lil heart to see so many people with a lot of love for their brothers. Yes, took my nearly 20 years to connect with my brother. I'm still working on it with mine. It's hard when you relate so much to another person and yet you have vastly different personalities. That my father would die young. Both of his parents lived well into their 90s. He was athletic, non-smoker, not a risk taker. He also turned out to be the only one in his family to get cancer, a particularly deadly type. I'm sorry to hear about that. Cancer sucks. About the only thing I can say about cancer. Cancer sucks, simple and to the point. That I found a girl that buys me Star Wars Lego at Christmas. Plot twist, it's still mom. That I haven't gotten married. That's something I just assumed would happen and yet here we are and I'm still single. I think he'd also be surprised at how rough my teenage years were. I feel ya up. Not only that I haven't gotten married but that I have spent the last 13 years single. And, that I failed out of college twice and am only now doing well enough to finally get a bachelor's next year at 33. I didn't fail out, but I just stopped going a few times. Being in your early 30s getting the degree isn't that weird. Hey, you know that girl over there you think is really weird? You're going to marry her. You knew your wife when you were 12? Awesome. It's pretty sweet. I met my wife in 9th grade home economics. I dated her friend for a while. She blocked me on AIM for like 2 years because she was an awkward nerd that didn't get why a guy would want to just be friends with her. She loved Age of Empires and so did I, and I wanted to play with her. We didn't have out in 11th grade but started to in 12th, and she got busted about the blocking me. A few weeks later we started dating and have been married for almost 11 years now. Aw, that's super cute. On my second date with my now fiancé, we discovered that he still had a copy of the issue of Pokemon World magazine that I'd had my Design a Monster entry printed in when I was 8. So we'd technically never met, but he'd seen my art like 13 years prior. I'm a much better artist now. That I have a kid taller than me. I'm not tall or anything, just never pictured being shorter than my 13-year-old. I'm 5 feet 7 inches and married someone who is 5 feet 10 inches or taller. Our son is like 6 feet 1 inch at 17 and daughter is 5 feet 9 inches at 15. Probably makes sense considering my father-in-law is 6 feet 4 inches. Genetics are so cool. Same, I'm 56, my husband is 59, our 2 sons are 64. Well, stop giving them steroids for breakfast then, mama. When they were just lads they had 4 dozen eggs every morning to help them get large. So they're roughly the size of a barge. That I actually like bees now and want to pursue beekeeping someday. I used to hate all bugs no matter what, but with more research, I realized that bees aren't so bad. Still hate other bugs though. So bees are all the buzz, eh? Indeed they are. They're also the bee's knees. How little I've accomplished. How many emotions were cancelled. We're all a little dead inside. That would be an understatement. We're all decomposing inside. Then I'm in bed usually by 8:45 every night. To sleep? I'd still sit down for an all-night session of Dungeons and Dragons. I never played D&D, but I really want to try. I've been listening to a bit of the Adventure Zone podcast and it sounds like a blast. Growing up, it was always the bottom of the barrel for nerdism. You could play or be into anything nerdy and get away with it because at least it's not D&D. I think my friends and I would really dig it if they just got past the stereotype. The last time I talked about it some time ago, the idea got shot down. Maybe I'll give it another go the next time I go home, or try arranging it with them online over Roll20. The biggest problem is that I would likely have to be Dungeon Master for a group that knows nothing about it. I barely do. Don't worry. Those early sessions figuring stuff out are so fun. Just jump into it, create a story, and have fun.